fact, their parents called me up and said, I feel like crying. They didn't cry. They were happy to be there. It's because they were raised in a way that let them know it's okay to step out of the comfort zone and experience a little risk because it could be fun. My three grandsons love going to school. They love being there. They love interacting with people. Each time we venture out of our mother's arms, we gained a little bit more independence. We became a little bit more unique. And we continued to build on our character and who we were and who we are and who we continue to be. As we grew up from being a young child and into adolescence and then into being a young adult, we still needed to step out of our comfort zone and into the world of unknown experiences. But at some point, that changes. But it was like as we grew older and wiser, we began to realize that there is risk and there is discomfort in the unknown, outside of our comfort zone. It wasn't always pleasant to be there. At some point in each of our lives, we began to hold back and resist at taking risks. Honestly, for myself, and this might sound pompous, I don't know, but honestly at myself, I cannot remember a time that I resisted taking risks. People that know me, they never expected me to get past 40. When I got past 40, they never expected me to get past 50. And now I'm past 50 and they never expected me to get past 60. And now I'm past 60 and they're saying, well, maybe this guy knows something about taking risks. For many, it becomes easier to remain the same rather than stepping out into the unknown, risking your comfort. For me, stepping out into that unknown was and remains an adrenaline rush. That's why I like climbing mountains. That's why in this coming August, I'm going to go do an obstacle race in Missouri with my son. I'm going to run for hours through the mud, through the water, through the crap that they throw at you, and do all these obstacles just because I think it's going to be a rush. And I want to feel that rush, and I want to finish and prove to myself that I still got it. I'll finish. Don't know what time. Don't know if it'll be the same day, but I'll finish. See, for many, it became easier just to stay in that dead end job or in a bad relationship because it was familiar. It was secure. And besides, the thought of change just seems so daunting to people. It still does. I have friends, I talk about change. I talk about, why not try this? Why not step out? And they look at me like, I have leprosy or something. One of my good friends, I just went to her birthday. She just turned 60 years old. And I remember the day back when I think we were like 13 or 14 years old. She said, I want to jump out of an airplane. I want to do, parachuting. And our parents said no. Her parents said no. And all these years, she has waited to do this. She turned 60 and she jumped out of that plane. And she immediately, when she landed, made a reservation for another jump. It wasn't daunting to her. It was a risk she was willing to take to experience what it felt like to fly through the air. It's people think that it's okay to stay in their comfort zone in those bad relationships and those dead end jobs with bad friends, all because they don't want to break the routine. It's too comfortable. What keeps them there is fear. See, fear is not comfortable. Fear is natural. It's our system telling us, hey, wake up. It can warn you. It can enable you. And the biggest thing, it can stop you dead in your tracks. Dead in your tracks. Stop you cold. My friend that parachuted, we were at dinner at her 60th birthday, and people at the table, every one of them except for my wife and I looked at her when she said she was going parachuting, except for one person that was a professional parachute trainer, I think, jumper trainer, looked at her like she was nuts. They were all stopped dead in their tracks. They would never even think of doing something even close to that. Some of them didn't even like being in an airplane with a door open, let alone jumping out. Jack Canfield said, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And I can attest to that as being a true fact. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. But many, many have difficulty setting aside that fear, getting out of the comfort zone, and challenging the fear. You need to challenge your fear. And that's what you do when you step outside of the comfort zone. You're challenging whatever fear you have of taking a risk. See, people that prefer their comfort zone, they have too much going on in their head. They have these voices telling them, oh, don't do that. What are you thinking? Don't you dare change the routine. Stay where it's nice and comfortable. You're doing okay. No need to rock the boat. See, those voices, what they don't understand is that those are their voices. They're doing this to themselves. Those aren't voices from somebody else. Those are their voices. The good thing is, being their voices, they can turn those voices off, but they don't. Those voices stop them dead in their tracks way before they ever get close to stepping past their imaginary boundaries that they have set up in their head. Having a comfort zone it's not a bad thing, but it will eventually keep you from learning. It will eventually hold you back from experiencing new things. And over time, it will eventually keep you from experiencing a full and exciting life. In the end, it will provide you with a boring, fearful life. But hey, you'll be comfortable doing it, right? When we took our first baby steps, we didn't know the risk. We kept trying to take that first step until we finally took that first step, and we finally did it. The risk was high, yet what a transformation in our lives once we mastered those first steps. Those first steps opened up limitless possibilities in our lives and continue to do that today. As adults, as young people. The falls and the stumbles, they're all forgotten. Many times forgotten as soon as they happen. Boom, you fall. Oh, okay, let's try it again. It's easy to look back at life and the accomplishments that we've made to see they were the result of facing our fears, our challenges, accepting risks, and stepping past the imaginary comfort boundaries that we've built into our heads. It's easy. The ones that do it are the ones that continue to step out of the comfort zone. I remember when I got on stage for the first time to tell my story. It was the first time my wife had heard me speak. It was the first time she had heard my whole story. Oh, it was hard. It was so uncomfortable. But that day I learned that we can achieve anything that we set our minds to if we're willing to step outside of our comfort zone and face our challenges and our fears. Whatever your goals are, whatever goals we set for ourselves, at some point we will have to make a choice that will be uncomfortable, that will require facing our fears and stepping outside of our comfort zone. The good news is we have already been doing this our entire life. From the time we took our first breath, to our first steps, to our first day in kindergarten, to who we have become today, we have been doing this all along. I don't know, maybe it's time to be a kid again. Maybe it's time to stretch the limits and just like a kid does, taking his first steps. I'm telling you, outside your comfort zone is where the magic happens. It's where we grow. It's where we learn. It's where we expand our horizons beyond our imaginations. Maybe it's time to step outside your comfort zone and experience a little magic once again. That's the show for today. I hope you take a step outside your comfort zone, because the people that I've worked with that have gone and taken that step have realized tremendous amounts of reward from it. It's easy. You just have to turn certain things off, and you just have to step. You just have to take that step, that risk, and see what happens. You fail, you get up and you try it again. Every successful person I know has failed at least once. So it's okay. You can step outside that comfort zone. Turn off the TV, get out of the chair, step up, and see what happens. This is Jeff Heiser. This has been I Think Differently. Talk to you next week. Don't forget, go out and get that book, ebook off of the website, www.jeffreyheiser.com. Till next week, have a great week. Take care.